Hey everybody, welcome to My Friend the Reader, June TBR edition. I've done TBRs on a regular basis since starting this channel, and I actually have found them quite useful in terms of structuring my readings, setting a bit of a plan in terms of what I'm hoping to read moving forward, and making me a bit accountable. Now, obviously, I haven't finished every single thing I've put on my TBRs, which I'm sure is super natural and common among booktubers. I think in my first my first TBR, monthly TBR, I said I was going to read Sight and The Idiot, which are both shortlisted now for the Women's Prize for Fiction, which comes out in a couple of days, and I still have not read either of them. I have a suspicion Sight might be longlisted for the Man Booker Prize, so I might wait until that happens. And The Idiot also got shortlisted for the Pulitzer. It's definitely on the top of my list to read, but I'm not sure if it's going to happen anytime soon. We'll get to it. In terms of the month of May, it went a lot better. I think I read almost all the books I had set out to in my video. I'm still reading The Female Persuasion. It just got pushed aside a couple of times, but I'm about a quarter way through it, and I am still reading all of Kittredge, and I should be done that probably relatively within a few days because it is a relatively small book. But nonetheless, I want to make something for June and create a bit of a plan for myself moving forward. It should be pretty quick because I am not going to go into reading all the descriptions of the books, partly because I've already mentioned and done so in previous videos, so you could, if you're keen enough, you can scroll back in some of my other videos and take a look. So the one hard copy, I do want to finally read Operation Shylock by Philip Roth. As most people in the literary world know, Philip Roth died about 2 weeks ago, and it has definitely created a stir. I don't think I've seen so many articles written and different think pieces about what Roth represented to American literature, whether his books would, and the themes he covered and his style would survive the test of time, so it's been interesting to engage in that and read all those things. I had read a few Philip Roth books before, quite enjoyable. He's grown on me more and more. Operation Shylock is seen as one of his better ones, and I'm going to get to it this month as an honor in Roth's memory. The other 5 books that I'm planning to read this month, at least read them. I do audiobooks all the time as well, but the 5 books I'm planning to read are, one is V.S. Naipaul's In a Free State, which is one of the 5 shortlisted Golden Man Booker Awards, which I noted in my previous video. Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel. I'm actually going to do a buddy read with a coworker of mine who hadn't read it yet either, though she had a copy. So definitely I will try to finish that by the end of the month. And I am also hoping to read In the Time of the Butterflies, which is one of the Latina American authors I was hoping to get to in the midst of the Junot Diaz scandal. And thanks for everyone who went and watched that Junot Diaz video. I think it got more engagement than anything I've done before, including some uncomfortable commentary that I didn't think fit the debate that I was trying to engage in, and it had 2 disliked thumb down, so it was disappointing. But I know the more people who come to your channel over time, you're going to have people who just randomly click the thumb down channel or button. So it is what it is. The other 2 books are ones I haven't talked about. One is The Mars Room by Rachel Kushner. Rachel Kushner is a very well-known American author. Her last book, I think, was called Flamethrower. I read it several years ago. It was shortlisted for the National Book Award. I can't recall the details other than it dealt with motorcycle riding in Italy I think it takes place in the 60s, 50s, and 60s. So there's this countercultural element to it. I didn't enjoy it that much, even though it was highly acclaimed. I just didn't feel as engaged with it. I am more interested in the Mars Room, which I'll give a bit of a description. It's 2003, and Rami Hall is at the start of 2 consecutive life sentences at Stanville Women's Correctional Facility, deep in California's Central Valley. Outside is the world from which she has been served, the San Francisco of her youth and her young son Jackson. Inside is a new reality, thousands of women hustling for the bare essentials needed to survive. The bluffing and pageantry and casual acts of violence by guards and prisoners alike, and the deadpan absurdities of institutional living, which Kushner invokes with great humor and precision. Feels like almost a literary Orange Meets the New Black, probably much darker and more, slightly more serious, though at times that show is also dark and serious. I caught some of Kushner's interview with Writers and Company on CBC Radio, which I'll provide a link below. I've read a couple of books in the last couple of years dealing with the prison and industrial complex in the United States, including the amazing Blood in the Water, about the Attica prison uprisings in the early 1970s. So this feels to speak to an interest I have in terms of the horrors that have emerged out of an incarceration system in the United States that has grown and grown and grown with few results in terms of positive results in terms of those incarcerated in society at large. The other book that I'm planning to read is Brother by David Cheriandy. Now, David Cheriandy is a Toronto author. This book was longlisted for the Giller Prize last year, and many people had suspected it was going to get shortlisted as well. And when it wasn't, it was a huge shock, quite an upset. Nonetheless, I have a feeling that this might be a book that the Man Booker Prize Committee is going to be looking at as a potential long-listed book. Canadian books have always been eligible for the Man Booker. I don't think a Canadian author has won since Margaret Atwood's The Blind Assassin. Madeleine Tien's Do Not Say We Have Nothing came close probably a couple of years ago. Nonetheless, Brother sounds amazing, and people who have read it have adored it. And some people, and it's been released recently in Britain, so it's starting to get some momentum there. So I'll read the description. An intensely beautiful and searing, powerful, tightly constructed novel, Brother explores questions of masculinity, family, race, and identity as they are played out in a Scarborough housing complex during the sweltering heat and simmering violence of the summer of 1991. With shimmering prose and mesmerizing precision, David Cheriandy takes us inside the lives of Michael and Frances. They are the sons of Trinidadian immigrants. Their father has disappeared, and their mother works double, sometimes triple shifts, so her boys might fulfill the elusive promise of their adopted home. Coming of age in the Park, a cluster of townhouses and leaning concrete towers in the disparaged outskirts of a sprawling city, Michael and Frances battle against the careless prejudices and low expectations that confront them as young men of black and brown ancestry. Teachers stream them into general classes, shopkeepers see them only as thieves, and strangers quicken their pace when the brothers are behind them. Always, Michael and Frances escape into the cool air of the Rouge Valley, a scar of green wilderness that cuts through their neighborhood, where they are free to imagine better lives for themselves. Propelled by the pulsing beats and style of hip-hop, Frances, the older of the two brothers, dreams of a future in music. Michael's dreams are of Aisha, the smartest girl in their high school, whose own eyes are firmly set on a life elsewhere. But the bright hopes of all three are violently, irrevocably thwarted by a tragic shooting and the police crackdown and suffocating suspicion that follow. With devastating emotional force, David Chariandi, a unique and exciting voice in Canadian literature, crafts a heartbreaking and timely story about the profound love that exists between brothers and the senseless loss of lives cut short with a shot of a gun. Seems timely, covers so many other issues that are part of the cultural and political zeitgeist of our time. I think I'm very much looking forward to it, and it's not super long, only a couple hundred pages. So that's it for me today. It's a shorter video. So what are you reading? Let me know. Talk to you soon. Till next time.